see everybody here. For those of you who don't know me, I'm probably sure you do. I'm Dr. Dolacek. I'm the Program Director for Health Studies. We also have Dr. Griswold here and one of our newest faculty, Ms. Starks. Wave, Ms. Starks. We're glad to have her aboard. She's been a significant help to us in all of our classes. I just wanted to talk just a few minutes with you just to kind of welcome you, give you a few updates, and then Dr. Griswold will be talking to you about Practicum, some very, very important information. Following the Practicum, we do have a guest speaker that will be coming to talk to us, Mr. Lane Colvin, who is the administrator at the Ouachita Community Hospital, and he will be talking to you about healthcare executive organization that I think would be very interesting to you and something to keep open to as far as joining some type of organization, because those type of things can provide a lot of references and resources for you. So we're glad that he was able to come and talk to us. There's also some light refreshments back there, so feel free to go grab something now or on your way out. Updates. I was just checking our numbers. And as of today, we have 242 majors in health studies. Yeah, right? So we're really excited about that. In 2007, the program started, and we had 7. Okay, and so now we have 242. We're real happy about that. The program's growing each year. You know, the word's getting out, and I hope you guys continue to spread the good word for this good curriculum and major and so forth. So nice growth there, and I wanted to share that with you. Next week, did y'all hear about Career Connection, offering the workshops, okay? We really encourage our students to go to this. This is just a great opportunity for you to learn about professionalism, communication, resume development. There's also going to be healthcare agencies there, and in the past, when the students have attended those events, made connections with those healthcare agencies, jobs were offered, you know, interviews were given. So even though you may be a sophomore, junior, whatever classification, we really encourage you to attend those. And for my online students who this is being videotaped for, the Career Connections is working to provide some video footage of those events to provide to our online students, our distance learning students. So. Okay, so that is September 23rd, 24th, and 25th next week. I believe we've all announced it in our classes. I've posted it. I've tried to remind students. So, you know, if you can't make all of them, try to pick one at least. It's so important for you to attend those events. Paul, help me to pass this out so I don't. Also, we're trying to update our website with keeping things with the new, updating with current events, news. And one of the things that I wanted to provide to the students as a resource is this post-baccalaureate certification opportunity for health studies students. I believe it is posted now on our website. I wanted to give you a handout, and I sent it out in an email with the attachment. These are just really neat opportunities for certifications for students once they graduate in our program, okay? So most of the requirements for these certifications is graduation with a degree in healthcare area, which is what you would have, about 1 to 2 years of work experience, and then obviously you'd have to sit for a certification exam. So the reason I'm providing this to you is just to give you additional information, resources to add to your vita, to add to your resume. The more skill sets you can add to your education, the more diverse you are, the more that healthcare companies look at that as an opportunity to hire you maybe over someone who doesn't have a certification. It just makes you a more well-rounded, educated student, okay? What you would need to do is you would just Google the names of these certification sites. It takes you right to the site. I did that for each one of them. You just place that into Google. It takes you to it, and you can read information about it. For example, one of the ones I thought that was interesting on the second page, Certified Professional in Healthcare Management. I thought this was sort of interesting. Educates healthcare professionals on the values, challenges, history, legal aspects, and recent trends in healthcare management. It's just sort of interesting. So take some time when you can to look at some of these sites, read about the requirements, and I hope that you consider doing this. And if you do, I'd like to know about it. We would like to know about it, what it was like, what the examination was like, and things like that. So that's also on the website, and I sent that in an email as well. The other update we are doing is a little change with advising. We are designing an advising site in Moodle. Okay, I just said we had 242 majors, right? Well, the numbers, we have to be able to manage those numbers efficiently and effectively for you and for us. And so we've designed a site in Moodle. It's going to be the Health Studies Advising site. We're putting all our advisees in the site, and you'll have all your information, graduation applications, important dates, course information, etc. But also what'll be neat is you can sign up for advising at this site. And many of you probably have done this before with other advisors. And we just think that's going to be more efficient than you actually physically walking to our offices to sign up. So anytime, day or night, 24/7, you can just click into Moodle, once we open it, and sign up for your advising spot with your advisor, and then still physically come in for advising. We still want to see you guys, okay? So that's upcoming. Once we get everything in that site and I get all the current dates and everything updated, we'll have that open. Advising is going to be starting the middle of October, right? It usually goes on for about 3 to 4 weeks. So we'll be sending out some information to prepare you for that. And, that's always a busy time, right? So hopefully, though, once we get the advising site up, I would love to hear your feedback on how that's working for you. Dr. Griswold is going to be talking about practicum, one of the most important parts of our curriculum, right? It's really the pinnacle of our curriculum because the practicum is where you get to experience work in a healthcare site, learn about management, professionalism, and really it just turns the door for you as far as moving into that professional role. So this is just such an important part of the curriculum and important information today. And we want you to know, as faculty in health studies, we are here to mentor you, advise you. We want you to be successful. We want to see you graduate, right? And we want to see you get a job in healthcare or move on to graduate school, whatever your choice would be. That's very important to us, So we want you to look upon us as mentors, coaches, so to speak, advisors, because we want you to turn into that, exceptional professional in healthcare. And this practicum experiential will help to do that, okay? So that's my little spiel, okay? And I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Griswold.
Well, we get to talk about Practicum II. How many are slated for Practicum II for spring? Lots of hands. Good, good, good. Well, what we're going to go through today are the requirements for Practicum II and kind of what the sequence of events will be on you completing your intent to register form, what to expect with Practicum II and how things work for us throughout the semester. Okay, well, Practicum II, as Dr. Dolchek said, is one of the highlights of your curriculum here. This is where all of these things that you've been learning, not only in our classes, but throughout your time here at ULM, that you put into practice. So this is kind of where rubber meets the road, so to speak. And what you will do is, what the practicum involves is you spending a semester in a healthcare facility, being mentored on certain business projects or working with the CFO or the CEO or learning about quality management. All of those types of things are part of Practicum II. So it's not only you going out into the community, it's also a course, a 3-hour course. So there will be discussion forums in the course, there will be papers that you'll have to write in the course. All of this will be in Moodle for you, okay? It's an online course and it has all of these different components to it. So what I'd like to do is kind of walk you through what the steps will be, so to speak, if a student is, and many of you raised your hands, that you're progressing on to practicum for spring semester. Well, one of the first things that you will need to do is be sure that you meet all of the requirements for Practicum II. Have you guys went out to the website, the Health Studies website, and looked at the requirements for Practicum II? Well, there is a Practicum manual, and it's located on the Health Studies website. And it has all of the requirements and guidelines listed in it. So if you are planning on going to Practicum in spring semester, you need to be sure that you meet the following requirements. You've got to at least have completed 90 hours in the Health Studies curriculum, so you guys have done that, and good standing. A minimum overall GPA of 2.0, so this is your cumulative GPA, it has to be a minimum of a 2.0. And then your Health Studies GPA, this is just in your Health Studies courses. You have to have a minimum of a 2.75 with a grade of C or greater in your HLST courses. So if a student, for example, makes a D in a course, they would either have to repeat that course with a C or better, or they would be in contact with their advisor. But the student also has to complete all of their 200 and 300 level HLST courses. Okay, so those are the minimum requirements to progress on to Practicum II. So the GPA requirements. So what happens next is our next deadline is October 1. So if you're planning on going to Practicum, anyway, we have that intent to register form, which you have probably all seen out on the website. That is due to me on October 1. And it basically contains some demographic information on you, your name, your address, your campus-wide ID. You check off which semester you're wanting to go to Practicum. Then towards the bottom of it, it has where you list 4 different Practicum sites. Also out on our website is the list of Practicum sites, okay? So on your intent to register form, which is due October 1, if you're wanting to go to Practicum II in spring, you get to list 3 different sites from that list. Your 4th site has to be a site that's not on that list, okay? So that means you've got to make some inquiries and so forth with other healthcare agencies. Well, you may be thinking, well, how do I go about doing that? Well, hopefully you might know someone that is in healthcare and works in healthcare. And you should call the site and let them know that you're a health studies major and that part of your curriculum involves you doing a practicum, and could they utilize an intern for a semester. And the site, if they say yes, then all you need to tell them is that your professor, Dr. Griswold, will get back in touch with them. So you send me all of that information, the site's name, the contact person, their email address and phone number, and I take it from there, okay? So all of these sites that our students go to, we have to have a contract with them. So I need to talk with them, and there has to be some paperwork that's completed by both parties and so forth. But you get to choose 3, though, from the list that's already on there. And our online students, of course, that may be a little different from you, especially if you don't live in the area, you live out of state or somewhere. But you and I need to have, whether you're a traditional face-to-face student or an online student, we need to have several conversations before you go, because we want to get you to a healthcare facility of where your interests are, okay? Let's say you're interested in going to a clinic. Well, we need to work on getting you to a clinic. Let's say that you're interested in mainly in human resources. Well, let's think about a place that when our students go there, they get to spend a lot of time in the human resources department, okay? So you and I need to have these conversations so I can determine where your interests are. And, you know, as far as our sites go, they're really good about taking students and working with the students around their work schedule or their school schedule. They're really good about that. But our sites, even though they're on that list, they may not take a student every semester. They may be having a joint commission inspection. They may say, you know, we really don't have anyone to mentor the student during this period of time, so we're not going to take a student. Or they may say, you know, so-and-so, our site supervisor who usually handles our interns, they're out on maternity leave or they're out on sick leave or so forth, and so we just don't feel like we can take a student. So just because someone's name is on the list doesn't mean that they're going to take a student every semester. And most of our sites only take one student. So, you know, there may be multiple students wanting to go to the same site. So just keep all of that in mind as you're filling out your intent to register form. So everybody gets their intent to register form in along with their resume by October 1 to me. All you'll need to do is just email me that information. Be sure that your resume is in tip-top shape, and most of you are either in Practicum I or have completed Practicum I, and part of the assignments in that course is to put in place a resume. And if you have any questions about that, Career Connections here on campus, they're really good about going over resumes. If you're an online student, you can even email them your resume. They'll be glad to read through it and get back with you with any recommendations or changes or anything that needs to be made. So utilize them. Whether you're a face-to-face or an online student, that's what they're here to do, is to assist our students. If you are thinking that you will do practicum in the summer or in the fall, your deadline for your intent to register form is March, okay? And we'll be having another one of these informational sessions in the spring semester. But those are your two important deadlines, October 1 and March 1, okay? So you'll get me your intent to register form and your resume, and then usually within the next few weeks you'll be getting an email from me letting you know that you are tentatively set to go to practicum, okay? You're provisionally accepted to go to practicum. And then again, hopefully you and I are continuing to have conversations about where you want to go. Then at the end of the semester, usually about a week before finals, you'll get an email from me and it will say that you're tentatively set to go to XYZ hospital, okay? So you'll know where you're tentatively set to go. Your confirmation letter will not arrive, or you will not get that from me until after the final grades are posted, okay? So I forget, I think the last day of the semester is the 5th, December the 5th. It will probably be that next week before you get your confirmation letter from me, okay? And if you're taking winter session courses, you probably will not get that from me until down to the last wire of when spring semester starts, okay, until those final grades are posted. Also, I want to mention that some of our sites require additional things, additional requirements, immunization requirements, a drug screen, a background. They may require general physical, things of that nature. But if you look at that list, their requirements are listed under that. Some of them do not require these until you get there, and they process our students through just like they would process an employee. However, there are some sites that say when you walk in the door, we want a copy of your immunizations, we want a copy of a drug screen, and we want a copy of a background check. And we have a mechanism here on campus for students to do drug screens and backgrounds. This is what all of our clinical students go through. It's a website called Certified Background. So if that is needed by your site, I will let you know that. You will know that ahead of time to proceed and to do this, okay? So all you do is log on to this website, you give them your information, credit card number, and they do all the rest, okay? So if you should need any of that, we have a mechanism to do that, but that is listed up under each site what their requirements will be. Okay. Also, another thing I just want to point out that there is an additional fee associated with the course, and you guys have probably read all about that, but I always like to mention that. of that. I don't get into setting the hours that you're there. That's between you and the site. So I leave that totally up to you guys to determine all of that. Also, some of the sites may require, there may be a weekend event in there. If you can attend that and they want you to, those hours count, okay? So just know that all of that is between you and your site. But my main goal is that you get your 104 hours in. Those are the required total number of hours that you will have to get in. And as far as dress code, our students have to dress professionally, and they also have to follow the dress code of the agency that they're at. We have one particular agency that they want the students to purchase scrubs and wear scrubs and look like the office staff of that facility. There are only one that wants the students to do that. The rest of the sites is professional attire and adhering to their dress code as well. So there's lots of things there to keep in mind. Also, I always remind students about confidentiality. Remember HIPAA and all the other things associated with confidentiality in the workplace anytime we're dealing with proprietary information or patient information. Also, I encourage students, after you know and you get your confirmation letter of where you're going, make a trial run to that site. Figure out how long it's going to take you to get there. Just because you Google it and it tells you this is the path you need to go, doesn't mean that that time on there is always right. So make a trial run, figure out where you need to be. I had actually had a student this semester that said, I'm so glad you reminded us of that because I had to drive around for 10 minutes trying to figure out where to park. Okay? So make a trial run to see how long it's going to take you, where you need to park, all of those types of things. If you've looked at the Practicum site list, you probably noticed on there we have some nonprofit organizations, such as the Northeast Louisiana Food Bank. We've got the Monroe Housing Authority on there. We've got some of our Council on Aging. So all of those things fit in very well with the program here. And our students have really enjoyed their practicums that they've gone there. So some of the potential practicum sites, when you're looking for that fourth site, again, hospitals, clinics, doctors' offices, assisted living facilities, insurance companies, hospice agencies. We had a couple of semesters ago, our first student go to a hospice agency. They actually worked on a quality management project for them and did a fantastic job. And now then all the other hospice agencies in town are calling that hospice agency, wanting to know, how did you do this? And it was our student who helped set all of that up. Long-term care facilities are nursing homes. We're striving to get contracts with those. We've actually had a student hired in the last few months in a long-term care facility in the billing department. So we're real excited about that for her. Our Council on Aging, again, some other nonprofit organizations. We've had one student who has done their practicum in a chiropractor's office, so think of that as that fourth site. Dentist offices. We've got a student coming up who lives down south that we're working with a dentist in her community. That's where she wants to go for her practicum. So I've been in contact with the dental office and we're trying to work out a contract as far as that goes. And we also have the Children's Coalition here in town that we send students to. So keep all of that in mind while you're thinking of that fourth site and really what you want to do when you finish up. Our students are finding jobs, good fits in all types of healthcare agencies. We see a really good fit in the quality management side of things, the compliance realm of things, the medical records side of things. So our students are going into a variety of areas. We've got one of our graduates who is at a local pain center that is head of their HR department. We have one of our graduates who is actually one of the chief accountants for a local hospital. We've had one of our local surgical centers. They've actually hired 5 of our graduates there in various capacities at that center. So there's just many different things that you can do in the areas that our students are getting jobs in. So what's really good about this practicum is that if our students perform really well there, a lot of times the site may say, you know something, we have an opening, you know? And if the student's interested in applying, they may consider that student. That student's been there, they see how they perform, and so forth. Or they may say, you know something, let us write you a letter of recommendation. We actually had a student this last semester, the medical director for the clinic was very impressed with the student. They did not have any openings, but this physician wanted to write a letter of recommendation for the student, which was wonderful. So, you know, it just really opens a lot of doors. Or they may actually say, you know something, I know clinic ABC down the road that has an opening. Why don't you go down there and talk to the CEO? So there's lots of really positive things that come out of this practicum for our students.
Go the distance without going the distance. Online learning with the University of Louisiana at Monroe. ulm.edu/EULM.